This is the kickstand hip thrust, an exercise you will mainly feel in your glute, a little in your hamstrings, and right where they tie in at the bottom of your glutes. For this exercise, we are going to need a bench or some sort of elevation, usually about knee height is where I would recommend being at. We're going to start with our target leg for the demonstration being my right leg. So I'm going to start near the top here, and then I'm going to take my off leg and just lightly place it down here for stability. I don't want to be putting a lot of my weight into it, but just lightly there to make me a little more stable. I'm going to start at the top because we're in this kickstand. I'm going to flex and squeeze my glutes. You're going to notice when I go into full hip extension, my shoulders, hips, and knee are in a straight line. We'll start there. I like to anchor my elbows onto the bench, folding in half on the way down, driving up, thinking about like 90% of my weight in my working leg, about 10% in the other leg, folding in half, stretching, and then driving up, flexing, and squeezing. Some common errors I see with this exercise involve the flexing at our hip. So when we come down, we should be folding in half. But oftentimes when I see this, I see people arching and moving through their lower back rather than folding in half, similar to the way you would move in a deadlift. So make sure core stays braced. We're not lengthening and tightening here. Core stays braced. And then the other common area I see at the top is people trying to get as high as they can with their hips and crunching their lower back rather than just simply flexing and squeezing and initiating that straight line from shoulder, hip, and knee that we talked about earlier. A couple trainer tips I have for you on this one. Number one, we want our full foot to be on the ground. You'll oftentimes see people demoing these and their heel of their working leg is on the ground. But when we're here, I want you to really think about pushing your full foot down, driving through the whole foot, squeezing our glute, not balancing here. Sometimes people that do, I think, bar and Pilates will sometimes go to their toes for doing a different variation, but remember, full foot on the ground. The other trainer tip I have is knowing what full hip extension feels like standing up before you do it on the ground. So I'll sometimes have clients stand up. You're not loaded in this position, so you can really squeeze full, once again, straight knee, hip, and shoulder, squeeze there, and then bending a little bit at the waist and trying to flex. Now this feeling should feel in your glutes should feel very different. So make sure that the top of your hip thrust feels a lot more like this than it does like this.